Starting off with the key fob, you have two. They both work, and all they are good for is setting the security system and releasing the security system. To set the system, it's a temporary push button, and you hold it down, long press once, and it flashes these lights. And you'll see that there's a flashing light here when the security system is set, and it looks like a key. And with the key in the ignition and it turned on, the bike will not start. Both key fobs work the same. Now to release it, we have to quickly and in succession double press that button. 1, 2, all the lights flash again, the turn signals, everything. And that key goes off. So the ignition can now be turned on. You put the key in this spot under the seat, and it's a barrel key, so it only goes in one way, and you turn it once, it locks the key in position, and twice, and everything becomes live up here. Your starter button, which is there. This is the kill switch, so that's on and off. That's on. That's the starter button. Everything's hot. You have no oil pressure, so the engine light is in there. The oil light's on there. You're in neutral. You press the start button. It starts up. The tachometer starts to read. The speedometer doesn't read. Every other time, the gas gauge will work or won't work. Right now, it's not working. So we're going to kill a bike. The headlights come on with the switch. I'm going to turn the switch off. Sometimes you have to pull it in and out while you do it. I'm going to turn it one more, and that's key out. In this same situation, you use the same key, and you turn it counterclockwise. You push in and turn counterclockwise, and it will release the seat. I had to help it here, but release the seat. However, to get the seat high enough to access the gas tank, you have to open the saddlebag. And hang on, I'm going to pause this a second because I locked the saddlebag. Just a minute. Okay, just backing up a little bit here. The same key locks the saddlebags. It's a barrel key. You push it in the only way it can go. You turn it, and the saddlebag will open. Now that unlatches it, but these saddlebags, although they hinge and latch out here, they tuck themselves in to a goofy frickin' thing down here that I can't. You have to lift the lid up and then duck it out from underneath here. I can't hold the phone and do that at the same time. See those tongues there? They have to go down into this thing, and that's how the bags latch. So that works for both saddlebags. So the key works the ignition and the saddlebags and the seat release. And you have to have, I guess that was what I was starting to show you. You have to have this saddlebag unlatched and released, which I can't do one-handed again because it's Harley's biggest screw up in the world. They changed it since then. Okay, with this bag open and out of the way, you can now put the key back in the ignition and turn it counterclockwise to open the seat. And the seat opens, I guess I didn't show you the counterclockwise, but the seat opens enough to open the gas cap, which is under here. It says unleaded fuel only. It's pretty darn full. I think there's like 17 miles on this tank since I filled it. And this is also how you lift this air box off if you ever have to get to the air filter, which is underneath this cover. Most motorcycles, that's the gas tank, but in this one, that's the air box. Okay, so this latch here that you see will punch into that hole, and it will lock the seat down. Maybe it'll lock it down after I take the key out. There, I release the key back to neutral, and it locked the seat. With this fairing on here, it limits the turn radius of the handlebars. You can hear the mirrors hitting the windshield, and because it won't go all the way, it's called lock to lock, when the steering can go all the way to one side and hit the frame and all the other side, it won't do that. So because of that, this guy right here is supposed to lock your fork, so you can lock them in a full left turn position, so the bike can't be dragged away easy without lifting the front end off. It won't do that. I personally do not like these mirrors because they shine back onto my shoulders and just give me about this much space of what's behind me. If I were to keep this bike, I would get mirrors with longer stems, so you can see what's behind you. You should be able to turn this and see enough of what's next to you and behind you. Maybe a lot of guys put fisheye mirrors on this end so they can see all the way around. I would do that if I owned it, and that would probably allow this to turn farther. I don't think these grips would then hit the windshield, and you'd be able to use that fork lock that again is down here on the neck. This is called the neck, and these are called triple trees because they actually hold the neck post and the fork tubes with 3 holes, so it's a triple tree. There's an upper, and down there's the lower. And the lower has the threaded stem that comes up through the center of the neck of the frame. So that's that part. Back to these things. I showed you the start. I showed you the on-off run. There's a left turn. I'm not sure what the hell this is. We'll talk about that some other time. I haven't figured that out yet. It does have a radio. It's only on with the ignition. This is the volume control. I think the other one on the other side might be changing stations or something. Got the horn, high beam, low beam. This is a switch they added. It's an accessory. It's for fog lights. Fog lights are mounted on these. They're commonly called crash bars or engine bars. So if the bike falls over, the engine won't get crushed or hit or anything. And there's the fog light. There's one on each side. And that little button turns them on and off. This thing has a couple of accessories. I don't know what the hell they do. I don't know what this thing is. It looks like one of those deer horns or something that they used to put on when you're driving. They would whistle that only a deer can hear and get out of the way. There's a couple switches and buttons here. I don't know what the hell they do. Never figured it out. There's something on this side. There's a cigarette lighter and a switch. I don't know what the switch does. But if that the cigarette lighter works, and I haven't tried it yet, you'll probably want to use that, because I'm going to give you this thing. That'll mount your phone on the handlebars, and you can use that for navigation. Before I got a bike with the built-in GPS, that's all I used was the Google Maps on my phone to take me wherever I wanted to go. I'm sure you've seen these before. You spread them, plug it in there, and you wrap the rubber around the bottom corners. That holds that on. There's a reservoir for the hydraulic clutch. It's not a cable. It's a reservoir for the front brake. There is a bunch of cables here that operate the throttle. You won't have to worry about any of that. There's a screw to tighten here that's kind of like a cruise control. If you set the tension on this throttle, you can make it so, if you're doing 60 for an hour and you want to give your hand some relief, your thumb can tighten this thumb wheel. and put tension on the barrel of the throttle lever inside here, and that way you can just cruise and give your hand a rest. These pockets on this bike are hinged at the bottom. I have my garage door opener in there. I threw the key in there for when I had the bike in the garage. You can put gloves in there, a small hat, sunglasses, stuff you need and need to take off quickly. Otherwise, you have to do this deal where you release that part. Let me give it another view of it. Release that, and then when this thing tips up, you got to go back in here and release, jiggle around to release the inside, and it opens like that. And these saddlebags you take off with these thumb screws. They're easy to take out. And you need that off if you're probably filling the back tire with air, because it's hard to get the exact spot without seeing it and without the clearance of that. And I was going to check a right turn signal. I think the front bulb was burned out on this for the right turn signal. And you've got highway pegs for if you're cruising down the road and you need to change positions. This is built into your bike. It's on both sides. It's both on both sides of the crash bars, right next to where those fog lights or highway lights were that I showed you. Sometimes if you need to change position, you can also put down the passenger pegs and put your feet back there. You have to kind of lean forward a little bit and bend your knees, but it does help if you got to change position for a long ride. If you ride 1,000 miles in a day, which I have done many times, you need to change position a bunch. There is the passenger peg on the left side. There's your highway peg on the crash bar or the engine guard bar up there. The shifter on this side, you can shift with your toe, either pressing down or lifting up on the front peg, or pressing down with your heel on the back peg. I gotta get that phone. I wanted to tell you about the second key that came with this thing. It's been bent to shit and cannot be straightened. I tried to straighten it and it just tears the metal. So I think a good locksmith or any Harley dealer should be able to duplicate this barrel key. That's what they use. I never had one made. I don't know what they charge, but you need them to do it. Unless you have a trick. I don't have a trick. Okay, so that's 13 minutes of heaven I just sent you. Questions like checking the fluids and stuff like that we'll get to when you get here. That cigarette lighter plug. That's where I plug in my power source to power the phone that I put there. And you get a coil type thing that you run through. You hang it over one of the cables from the other front handle controls so it doesn't slap the tank. And let me know if there's other questions. And I do have the owner's manual. I haven't looked in it. I don't know what it's going to tell you. But a friend of mine was here, and when we were talking about it, he looked on YouTube and said almost any question you asked, there's a video on it. Somebody made for it. So we'll see when you get here. Maybe look for some mirrors and another key or something like that. All right. Take care. Bye.